We are back at the Moisture Farm, folks. Welcome in. I apologize for the bit of the hiatus with the holidays and some other stuff I had to take care of. Had to step away from making content, but super excited to be back. As you can see here, we're talking about Obi-Wan ECL today. Brought it to a store showdown. Obviously, it's not a deck that you hear a whole lot of people talking about. What I expected of my local meta going into a store showdown was a lot of Tarkin Town mid-range. Lots of Rey, lots of Cad, lots of Django Tarkin Town, lots of Quinlan. With Tarkin Town being so prevalent right now, I felt like this was something that could play into that a little well, and really sneak some games in, especially once we start hitting the top end of the curve at like 7+ resources. This deck starts to get really scary. So that's what I was expecting. And we'll go into the deck tech a little bit, show you some decisions I made about it, and then we'll jump right into some gameplay and see how it all panned out. So let's check out that deck. Okay, here it is. This is what I brought with me. Sideboard's underneath the camera. We'll talk about that in a minute. But starting at the beginning, repair. What is that doing in my deck? I found it was just, I liked it in testing. It was one of those ways that it snuck up on a lot of people. It messes with the math, both for base and units. When they're trying to get rid of that Obi-Wan Sentinel, or they think they've got a kill shot, it really messes with the math a little bit. And with your card cost in hand also helps, curve out a little bit. Some pretty standard cards in our 2-3 drops. We've got the Restored ARC. Restore is a very, very important mechanic in this deck. You need to take some pressure off your base health in order for this to work into mid-range and aggro. We've got Battlefield Marine. That's just like a solid turn 1, 3/3 for 2. We love that. It gives us a lot of options into the next couple turns. Coruscant Guard, the least optimal of our potential turn 1 plays. But, when Coordinate's active, obviously is a nice little ambush. Only 2 Jedi lightsabers. Although we've got a decent amount, we've got Kanans, we've got Lukes, we've got Aylas, we've got Obi-Wans, with the Tarkin Town meta, especially with Django, which is, like I said, what I was expecting a lot of. Putting an upgrade on a unit does not look great when it can just get tapped down when they've got initiative. So only went with 2 in the deck. 3 Village Protectors, really solid way to stall out. It obviously is not great into ping decks because the shield can come off pretty quickly, and then it's just a 2/2 Sentinel. Sundari Peacekeeper. So this was kind of a late addition, part of the sideboard. I sideboarded Yoda for Peacekeeper, and the reason for that is to be more resilient into Tarkin Town. And the big benefit for Yoda was definitely card draw, but also, a potential early activation of Jedi Lightsaber. And I just felt like that was a weaker move for this deck overall. So Sundari gets to come in and be a bigger body that's more resilient, and can potentially stay alive longer once we get to the 5 and 6 resource turns, which are super important. Perilous Position is just one of the best cards in blue right now. It can shrink and shut down leaders, and shutting down leaders is a really important part of this deck as well. So 3 of those for sure. 3 Kanans also with 5 health, resilient to Tarkin Town. Discard and heal simultaneous. Good things. I like it. 2 takedowns, or as I've previously referred to them, the Sabine killers. You'll hear a lot of people talk about cards that are grouped in removal. and Takedown is one of those. Bright Hope, is a must for the Tarkentown. You definitely need Bright Hope. Just Space Sentinels in general, strong presence in space. Conquer Dawn, I have 2 in the sideboard. So just main decking the 2 Bright Hopes, and then had some more Conquer Dawn in sideboard for those villain space matchups. 2 Razor Crests. The Razor Crests into bringing back a Perilous Position into hand was super nice. Got that combo off a couple times. We love doing it. Fellow Dragon, part of that removal combo, or set, I should say. And then 3 Aylas. I'll talk about Ayla and Riken at the same time. These are our two. These are the reasons why we're playing Energy Conversion Lab, is for Ayla and Riken. Ayla, a lot of the times, because we're putting down Sentinels, and with Tarkentown, Coordinate is not super easy to get off. But if you can get it in certain matchups, it's huge. ECL Ayla removes something and remains unscathed is just a really big swing in the game. And then Riken is our, definitely one of our big. That's our most used ECL target. Ideally, you do it when Obi-Wan flips, which is a little scary because a lot of times to make that work, you're flipping Obi-Wan into open resources, which you definitely don't want to do as much as possible. But when you get this combo off, Riken comes in, when played, drops Obi-Wan the experience token for being Sentinel, and then has another trigger when the ambush kicks in. And it's removing a lot of things, not always, but it removes a lot. It removes Sabine. If God forbid, Sabine is still alive at that point in the game. Hopefully not. But yeah, being able to throw, and 7 health, 7 on the butt is, it's going to survive into virtually anything at that stage in the game. That's not like super upgraded. So, and that's a huge swing. It turns Obi-Wan from a 4/7 to a 6/9, which is just huge, and immediately gives Obi-Wan a target to heal damage off of. So, you're taking advantage of Obi-Wan's ability on that swing right after Riken's dropped. Big swings. 3 Lukes. What else can you say about Lukes? That's, best card in the shell. You got to use it. 2 U-Wings. Ideally, you want the Lukes. But, U-Wing is really cool in this deck because sometimes you can U-Wing into a Luke. Sometimes you can just U-Wing into a Village Protectors and something else. You can, Village Protectors and Bright Hope, and now all of a sudden you're locked down in both arenas. You U-Wing into a Razor Crest and Peacekeeper. Now you've got 4 Restore on the board. Really good card, and can really swing games by itself. And then our 2 big top end units, we've got 2 Redemptions and 1 Home 1. If I had another Home 1, I probably would have brought 1 more in, and then maybe gone down 1 like Kanan or something. But those are super important for surviving mid-range and control. Other cards in the sideboard, 3 Smuggler's Aids, which is a sideboard for control. It brings, allows you to have card advantage out of smuggling late into the game. Gives you, an option to heal from your resources. Confiscates, that's pretty common sideboard card. You want to get rid of Dark Sabers, or get rid of a Bossk bounty while he's trying to set up a double claim. Lots of reasons why you want to bring Confiscate into sideboards in any matchup. But that's the gist of the deck. All right, so first matchup of the day, first round of Swiss, happens to be against my good amigo John here, and he's bringing out Bossk Blue, which is a terrible matchup for me. This game, as you can see, goes like 40 minutes long. just blue decks slugging it out. So I will not go through this entire game. But it's very much like it's very much what you'd expect, us responding to each other's stuff. He gets me pretty close to lethal at one point, and I'm able to stabilize away. I'm stabilized all the way down to 8 health with a redemption. The Avenger comes out, and I kind of just had to like stall until I could get a Rival's Fall or a Fell or something. He's able to keep the client out there, which is keeping him super low. I mean, we're going like at this point in the game, he's got 3, 6, 9, 12 resources. 2 village protectors here. It's just a slugfest. And then another Avenger that comes down and gets Rivals Falled. Just absolute haymakers going back and forth. This game, it takes, obviously, like I said, it takes like 40 minutes. We end up not even being able to finish the second game. He does take this one from me. I just scoop with power, or I was milled out, so I'm taking damage from, I think just the damage from milling out 6 damage was lethal for me. Very, very long game one. I very much should have just scooped at one point, but with those redemptions, I thought I could maybe bring myself in. So we end up not even being able to finish second game, and rather than taking a double loss with a tie, I give it to John. Game 2, I was up like 12 damage on base or something. Definitely looked like I was going to pull away with that, but in a tournament setting, you've got to budget time better in a matchup like that. Game 1, I should have scooped earlier. Maybe had a chance to win that one and go to a third game. But this was a matchup I was definitely knew I was going to struggle into. Soft control into hard control. And so we start out 0-1 going into the second round, looking to bounce back. Alrighty, so off to a rough start against a Bossk matchup. But now we've got Sabine, ECL, so back-to-back whiffs on getting like a target town mid-range, but that's all right. I think I am a little disadvantaged into this matchup, but this game's all about swing plays, so we'll see how it goes. Start with the restored arc. Not too shabby against Sabine. Nice little restore early game. He goes in with Jin. He'll ping bases. He probably should have just claimed at that point because I have restore on the other side. Or, sorry, I claimed. He should have not pinged because of restore. But no worries. We'll go into next phase here. I'll swing 2 into base, heal off that ping. He's going to play the A-Wing with timely intervention, so a little ambush action in there. Keeps his A-Wing afloat, and now has buffed Jin Urso for the phase, so really nice swing for him. Lucky to have both those cards in hand. And even though Jin does have Saboteur with that enemy defeated thing, I'll drop the village protectors down anyways. He'll take advantage of Saboteur, go through that shield, and trade units, which is fine. Keep it off my base. I feel good about that. And we'll go into next phase here. See, I've got a Luke in my hand. Not sure, hoping that I can make that Luke effective by that stage in the game, but we got to survive there first. Fun fact, my opponent's Sabine card is in French, which I thought was cool. Hyperspace, French, Sabine. Pretty neat. Ron will get us started here with a swing into base, of course. All knotted up at 4 damage on base here. Swings the action to me. Soft passed. He'll ping bases, soft pass again, and dropped in the takedown. You can see he's got a wing leader there. He's hoping to set that up. But instead, he'll pivot into a Fighters for Freedom and build up that board state here. And obviously, at 4 resources, that takedown is the only action I could take. We'll go into 5. We're now in range for a potential Poe, Dammer, and ECL here to whatever I play, so keeping that in mind. Still knotted up on base damage here, but obviously Ron's looking to create some separation here with the board state he's got. To slow that bleeding, we'll perilous the A-Wing out of play, give it that -2/-2, and get rid of it. Fighters for Freedom is definitely a threat, though. Any red cards coming into play will ping base as long as that thing's around. And it has Saboteur, so want to get that out of the way before the Obi flip, for sure. With 2 resources left, doesn't look like I have any other plays to make. Cassian will come in, ready, out of Smuggle. And I'll get pinged from Fighters, and then he'll deal another 3. So even after the A-Wing was dealt with, he's able to push across a good chunk of damage into my Obi-Wan flip turn. He's got a 6-13 damage lead here. Want to take care of that board as much as possible, particularly the Fighters for Freedom. And I'll go ahead and ECL Ayla into the Fighters for Freedom, which will allow him to swing in for Cassian, but we'll see if he decides to trade Cassian there or keep him up. He knows my Obi-Wan is ready to flip. He'll decide to go into base while he can. And I'll flip Obi into open resources. An ECL Poe or ECL Wrecker could wipe Obi completely. Which, I'm definitely worried about. And those 2 swing plays are the reason why, I do think this deck matches up poorly. Brings in red 3, so no longer worried about that. I can swing in Obi-Wan, heal 1 off of Ayla, and put 1 onto red 3 out there. Wing Leader's going to come in to buff red 3, which is a scary look for me. And that'll get the Sabine ping me, puts me up to 17 to his 11. And now the space arena is of great concern to me. Don't know how much I can do about it. I do know that an Obi-Wan swing will take care of Wing Leader, but obviously red 3 is much scarier. And you can see my hand. I do have the Bright Hope, which is that's definitely the best response I could have at this point. And we'll pay that 4. We'll bring in Bright Hope. No reason to bounce anything. Or bounce Ayla would be my only option. No reason to do that. Want to be able to push that damage across. now Ron's looking for a way to pivot out of that. He's stumped on Sentinels on both sides. Still has his ECL available. He'll go ahead and for a cause in. And flips into 2 Darksabers. So only have to take 2 there. He'll basically dump that whole card flip. We'll swing Obi-Wan again into Cassian. In hindsight, I should have just swung into base, I think, but we'll clear out the ground arena. No longer afraid of an ECL for that phase. So looks like I'm starting to claw back into the matchup here. Locked down with Sentinels on both arenas. Red 3 is going to swing at Bright Hope, and I believe it does survive. Yep, he'll survive with 1 remaining, but Ayla will go into base, and Wing Leader will be able to take out Bright Hope. Still 3 resources up for Ron here. Checking his math, trying to see if he can pivot away from that. He'll go ahead and trade into Bright Hope, which will free up Red 3 to swing into base for lethal next phase if I can't do anything to stop it. And you can see that last card in his hand, that for a cause I believe in, a perfect draw would put me a Sabine ping away from death. He's trying to decide if he wants to make that risk or to just claim here and swing, because Red 3 will do 2, 3, 4, 5. So he'll be 1 short with a Red 3 swing if he claims initiative here. So he'll go ahead and ping bases. I've already claimed, I believe, at this point. So he knows a Red 3 swing will do it as long as it'll survive. But he goes ahead and drops the For a Cause I Believe in. It's a perfect hit. He'll deal 4 to my base and put me a Sabine ping away from death. So, you know, as you can see, I've got a Luke and a couple other things in my hand. But if I cannot draw into another draw into any heal at this point, because a Sabine ping does it for me, and no repairs, no restore on the board for me. Checking my resources to make sure I don't have any smuggle answers, but you know, this was game 1, so my smuggler's aids aren't even sideboarded. And yep, staring that in the face. I cannot survive a Sabine ping, and Ayla's swing will come up 1 damage short of lethal on his base. So, yeah, I'm sitting there accepting the fact that I'm going to lose this matchup by 1, and I go ahead and scoop it. Did not come out on top game 2. He was able to just keep separation the whole game. And so rough start to the showdown, 2 unfavorable matchups for me, and I go down 0-2 going into the 3rd round of Swiss. Going up against Mace, double red, 30 base Mace red. I'm jumping a little bit ahead in this game because we got off to a real slow start and had some confusion on damage that needed to be sorted out. So at this stage in the game, he's got a Red 3 and a Y-Wing in space that's been paralyzed. He's got 2 damage on his base. I know it's really hard to see with his really sweet counter that he made up. I've got 3 damage on mine. And speed up the footage a little bit. Play Razor Crest into space. Try to deal with those pesky space units. And then down comes Aggression. Wipes that off the board and defeats the Perilous. So it's a good look for him. And then with that last resource, I'll repair, pull some damage off my base. Kind of nets out what's about to happen to me. Strong phase for my man Andrew here. And I missed one for the raid on red 3. Strong phase for him for sure. Going into the I guess that was a 5 resource phase, but so yeah, going into Obi-Wan flip. I almost played that wrong. I'll flip Obi-Wan. In this shell, I'm not super worried about Obi-Wan getting shut down like into open resources. You know, if he like open fire is like the worst thing that can happen to me. As far as like anything happen to Obi-Wan. So Fleet Lieutenants get some nice chunk damage in there. I'm thankful that he did Fleet Lieutenant because now it gives me a target for the Rican ECL, which is coming down right here. So wipes out Fleet Lieutenant and gives 2 experience to Obi-Wan. So now Obi-Wan's up to that 6-9. And that, like, buffing Obi-Wan is just going to be really good for me in the shell because it's just going to make it harder for him to ping that damage out or, you know, use any damage effects. So, and especially when I'm swinging with Obi-Wan, I'm healing that damage off. So it's a real tough situation for him if Obi-Wan gets really big. He'll use Mace's ability to start chipping away at Obi-Wan. But Rican is going to be a real problem for Andrew in this matchup because, you know, what's getting pinged with Mace is not it's netting out with when Rican attacks. So definitely a good swing in my direction here. I've got my ground arena in a real good spot. You can see I've got the Rival's Fall in my hand ready for the Mace flip now that we're going into 7. So first things first here, I'll take out Bo-Katan, I believe, yeah, swinging into Bo and buffing up Obi-Wan a little bit more. So now he's up to a 7-10 overall stats with 2 damage on him. That's just getting nastier and nastier for Andrew. Trying to figure out how he's going to deal with that. He's doing the math in his head to see, you know, if he can hit Obi-Wan for a certain damage amount, and then so an open fire would bring him up to 6, and then he could hit Mace for 2 more, and then flip Mace. But he decides to just flip Mace right away. I respond immediately with the Rival's Fall. And K2SO comes in for him. Not bad at all. I'll swing Obi-Wan here. Goes in for 7 damage on base. And then I can heal and throw damage out onto K2. Maybe should have done it onto the Y-Wing. I'm not sure if it mattered a whole lot at this point. He's up to 15, I think is what that says, damage on his base. So small. I'm trying to figure out how I want to assign this damage with Y-Wing here. I don't want, at this point, I don't want to get too willy-nilly on throwing damage on my base. He'll put the flamethrower on K2SO, and then I'll claim. Not the best look for him here because in all odds I'm trading with K2SO with Rican anyways. But you know he'll make that a threat. Keeps Rican out of his base. So Obi-Wan's getting 1 more and swinging 5 damage into K2SO. He'll clear it out in a second. Trying to figure out. Decides to do the K2SO defeat effect on my base. Puts me to 18. Makes me swing. Makes me make a decision here. And I decide to put the 2 damage onto Obi-Wan. So now, because like I said, I mean, 5 damage on Obi-Wan, which means, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage for lethal. And there's just no way that he's going to be able to ping me for 6. So I guess he soft passed into me. Rolling out with the home 1, bringing the restore in. Getting a bigger presence here, and it'll let Obi-Wan restore 1 when I swing that. Definitely a tough spot for a deck that is looking to just throw damage out when that damage isn't gonna take anything out. It's a brutal spot. Still sitting at 15. I'm up to 19 on my base. So if there's anything that he can get down that, starts putting me a real threat to lethal, that would be ideal for him rather than just trying to get rid of it. Plays the grenade strike to throw some damage around, and I'll go ahead and swing off of Obi. Heal 1 off of Obi-Wan, restore 1 from home 1, and definitely I'm in a commanding position for sure at this point in the game. Use Mace's effect to get rid of the restored ARC, and brings in another K2SO, and I think he just scooped at that point. So took that game. Took the second game as well. Went 2-0 against this matchup. Similar things. An Ayla ECL there with Coordinate active. Sealed that one for me. Finally pick up my first win. And it is now at this point, in the 4th match of the game, I finally get my first Tarkentown matchup against a showcase Quinlan. So, hopefully I can somehow claw my way back in. I'm thinking I have to at least obviously have to win out and then kind of just get lucky. So we'll start with the restored arc. He's got the L337. He's going to ping it with Quinlan, but I'm just going to heal it right off with Obi-Wan, which is this is what this deck wants to do. It wants to keep that from being effective, and so that you can in turn just kind of keep things level with your opponent, right? Because when you decrease the value of Tarkentown, or at least postpone it, these matchups start to look a little bit better. So he's gonna hot shot the L337 into base there, which will allow me to set up a Sundari Peacekeeper, which is very resilient to Tarkentown. And that'll be both players' turn for the phase. We'll move on to the 4 resource phase. I've got some damage on my base here, but not particularly worried about it. And he'll hotshot L337 again, turn it into a 6-2. And he goes into my Sundari Peacekeeper. Reasonable. Put 2 more into base. Restore 1. And he'll get his damage counter out there in a second here. There it is. He has to claim at that point. No 1 resource plays for him, and I'll bring in Kanan. So far, I mean, he hasn't played units in the past 2 phases, but still, all these units coming out are very Tarkentown resilient, and puts me in a real good spot going into Resource 5. And, you know, he decides to put some more pressure on base with L337 rather than going after Kanan or anything else. And we'll ECL Ayla out. Nice, clean, coordinate active ECL. And board looks real good for me at this point. Obviously, we got to see what he does with his resources this phase. He'll bring out Kira, which, so you can see my hand here. I've got Riken, I've got Home 1, I've got Rivals Fall. And, yeah, he's not too fond of Riken, so he'll make that harder for me to get out of my hand. Trying to figure out what my move is here. I know at least that's going to happen. We'll put 2 into base, restore 1. Out comes Quinlan on 5 resources. I'll have Kanan put 4 into Quinlan so that if he swings Quinlan anywhere, he'll go ahead and Tarkentown Kanan at that point. Very reasonable. Finally opened a window for him to Tarkentown something. But now if Quinlan wants to, if he wants to put any work into my board using Quinlan, it'll be a sacrifice. He decides to hang on to initiative, it looks like, rather than swing Quinlan anywhere and give me an opportunity to just take Quinlan away from him. We'll figure out our resources here. Tied damage on base right now. Go ahead and flip Obi-Wan right into it. This is also, like I said, it's not a deck that I'm particularly worried about. Even a Plo Koon right here for him isn't lethal to Obi-Wan. And, we can pivot around that a lot easier. It also sets up coordinate for me to move Ayla. So, I feel all right about doing that against this deck. Plo Koon is about the worst thing that could happen to me right now. Instead, looks like he'll pay 3. Not Kira. Brings out Cassian. Not from Smuggle, but he will ping the restored. And then Ayla will just cleanly take out Quinlan there. Feel like that was a pretty easy choice for me on that play. And the Falcon comes in. Now Obi-Wan's swinging into Kira, and I get to move that damage off of the restore to go ahead and take out Kira, which opens the door for me to play my Riken. I'll sacrifice my restore arc for that. No problem there. And Riken's going to come down and give Obi-Wan the experience token. And those are my 3 big players on the board here. And my opponent scoops at that point. My 3 biggest guys, at least before we talk about, our Lukes and everything like that. Very dominant board setup here. So, I finally get to show what this deck is meant to do, which is to pivot Tarkentown and create value before Tarkentown can outvalue you. So I go on to win this matchup 2-1. He'll get me game 2, and then I come back and take it game 3. So now 2 in a row here, even up, going into the last round of Swiss before we make our cut. All right, last matchup of Swiss is going to be CAD Tarkentown. So get another Tarkentown base. I feel like I'm pretty in a good spot here. Um, this is obviously a really good deck, a deck that's getting a lot of play right now. I believe this is game 2 of the matchup, and he took game 1 from me, which was tough. So playing from behind a little bit, make some resourcing decisions here. He's gonna take a mulligan, and we'll go into turn 1 here. Crafty Smugglers and Battlefield Marines coming off the board. He'll get a ping in with CAD, which will be removed by Obi-Wan. So you're forfeiting initiative a lot of the time in these matchups. Crafty Smuggler is a great turn 1 option for him. It basically guarantees a Tarkin Town into Battlefield Marine. He's going to, now there are 2 of them, into a Bossk. So big advantage for my opponent here. Gonna have to find some way to handle that. And I claim initiative here, not having a viable play on that turn. So now I'm down 2 damage on my base and dealing with a pretty strong board presence across from me. Not a whole lot of ambush in my deck. The Razor Crest will come down, hoping to net out some of this damage here with that restore. Still looking for a window for him to use his Tarkin Town. He'll go ahead and get damage into base, and I'm just soft passing to him in case he, for when he plays that card and wants to ping. He will, and I'll go ahead and heal it off and give it back to him, and he'll claim off of that. Definitely did not want my Razor Crest to be the victim of Tarkin Town there. So that board gets a little bit bigger. As long, my thoughts on this is that, once I can start pushing into that, once again, that Obi flip and then those turns after that should be enough to stabilize. Obviously, I'm down 8 damage here. He's going to no good for me dead the Razor Crest and deal 2 damage to it from Bossk, which is real ugly for me. Now that's susceptible to Tarkin Town, regardless of my Obi-Wan heal. I'm going to do it anyways. Probably just trying to hold off on something else that could be susceptible to Tarkin Town. Gets his damage in with Bossk. And then playing Ayla. Didn't want Bossk swinging into Ayla, which is why I was probably kind of stalling with that Obi-Wan, knowing that the Tarkin Town's going to come anyways. He'll put 2 onto my base. I take initiative here, and what proceeds to happen is one of the nastiest plays I've ever been hit with. That didn't come from a Boba deck, at least. So he's going to McClunky. 2 damage is going to go to Ayla from Bossk. The rest of the 3 damage is going to go onto Ayla from McClunky. Cad's going to trigger, putting another damage on the Razor Crest, and then the Tarkin Town comes in and wipes my board. He's letting me know that Razor Crest doesn't die, but I know he's going to Tarkin Town it anyways, but didn't die to the McClunky Cad ping at least. And then is able to replay Crafty Smuggler. Absolutely nasty play. And I'm now down 16 in a matchup that I thought was going to be what I played into. Now there are 2 of them, though, without having an immediate response to that. Didn't have any takedowns or anything. Didn't even get to play another card that phase. Definitely is just outvaluing me now. We're both in our leader flip turns here. Things are looking real rough for me. And seeing no other way out, I got an ECL Rican into Bossk here. And giving himself Sentinel on the first trigger, on the attack trigger, because he has Sentinel, he'll get the experience token. So turns him into a 6/8 with 4 damage on him. That is now a Sentinel. Not too bad, but definitely not an ideal situation that we're in now. But I had to do that before the Obi-Wan flip. I think just to keep that 4 damage off my base. That'd put me to 20. So definitely would not have survived if I didn't take out Bossk immediately. Now I have to flip Obi-Wan here. Crafty Smuggler still shielded, so not much I can do about that 2 damage coming in anyways. Brings out Forlom. Deciding where he wants to declare his attack to. Both are Sentinel, so both are valid options for the ambush. So he'll go ahead and Forlom into Rican. And then use Cad Ping on Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan will swing in and take out that space unit for 1. Heal that damage off himself. And then it's going to come right back to him with that defeat trigger. Crafty Smuggler is going to put 2 into Obi-Wan. Got a claim at this point. Leader's going to come in and finish him off. And now I'm, like I said, playing on my back foot here, but now we're in the territory where I have more of an advantage. Made the mistake last game of resourcing a rival's fall early in the game when I should have held on to it to prepare for the caddy unit. So obviously my board's empty, so that unit wouldn't be super effective right now, but definitely something I'm preparing more for. As you can see, I've got it in my hand right there. So staring lethal in the face here. Go ahead and rivals fall the leader Cad. And that 2 damage will come across. And now using that last resource to repair, stabilize a little bit. And Ruthless Raider is going to come in. It's going to throw 2 damage back at me. And then I'll take the initiative. Now I've got to find a way to deal with Ruthless Raider here. Yeah, that now there are 2 of them, definitely still dealing with the ramifications of that. I've got a U-Wing in my hand, as you can see right there. Not sure if that's the best way to respond to this right now, but might be able to go fetch a Bright Hope or something. Defeating Ruthless Raider is also a problem. So I'm very aware of that as well, of 2 damage coming in. So, I don't want to just, definitely don't want to let him attack. And so I will go in for the U-Wing, not seeing any other viable option around me. No Bright Hopes, it looks like. So we'll just U-Wing into the Luke, and we'll take out Crafty Smuggler. He'll push across that damage with Ruthless Raider. And yeah, there's really not a lot of hope for me at this point. Throw down a Greedo, probably just waiting for me to claim. Which at this point, no more repairs to come in, so he'll 4-lom into Luke. Or no ambush, sorry. No ambush into for 4-lom. Just wants to have that board presence still. Have that that lethal damage. Threats all around me. And looking through my discard, I think because I have a home 1, trying to see if I can go get a Village Protectors, but nope, haven't seen any of those this game. No Sentinels going around. Take out the 4-lom and get that restore off of Luke. Still staring lethal in the face here. You can see my leg is just bouncing like crazy. I know that I'm hosed here. Greedo goes into base. Have to slow down Ruthless Raider here. And here comes the Perilous Position. That'll stop him at least. And in comes Zuckuss. So now even a Sentinel won't save me. Puts me in a position, I think I'm forced to claim. With two off my base. And taps out for Boba Fett. It looks worse and worse for me, but I know restore won't even save me from Zuckuss. I believe I just scoop here, right? Man, what do I think I'm playing here? That looked like 8. Here comes the redemption. Just holding on. Making sure I'm doing my math. All that damage brings me down to 15, which I think I'm forced to do. I'm definitely aware that Ruthless or a CAD ping is going to take that out and free up Ruthless Raider, but definitely just stalling as much as possible, and I'm able to repair. Here we go, baby. This is what blue, green, white's all about. Swing in the Zuckuss to put me back to 18. And I'm all the way tapped out here. I think I might try to heal one off of redemption. Maybe I don't even try to do that. He's asking me how much damage is on redemption here. Definitely not looking good at all. He wants to definitely take this game in this phase if possible. He's got 5 damage to throw around. Takes out redemption with a CAD ping. Makes me claim. Puts me to 20. And puts me to 24 with a shoot first. Looking in a smuggle, looking for something. Smuggles out a Bazine. And, I remember telling him right here, like, there's nothing here that's, nothing here is going to save my bacon going into initiative. My only hope would be a perfect Ewing into village protectors, but doesn't happen, and I scoop. And that was my store showdown. So, even in the matchup that I thought I was going to do best into, couldn't get it done. So I think, this deck played as the meta would expect it to play. And so I went home going 2-3. Thought I might be able to sneak a pet deck in there and sneak in a top 8 for a store showdown, but didn't get it done this time. Got another store showdown I'm signed up for next week. That one will be a little bit more meta focused. It'll be at a different store, so I don't think I'll be able to get gameplay footage in. But I will definitely, maybe vlog it or something, record myself in between, get some sort of footage, and hopefully get a better showing in. Thanks for checking this out, and like I said, see you guys in the next one.